All right, hello, good people. We're back again with episode 8 of Inside the Vibe. I'm Yoru, and today we have with us Zay. I'm going to throw it to him so he can tell us a little bit about himself, introduce us to the people.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Zay Black. All around creative from Jersey. CEO of, or co-founder and CEO of Juneteenth NJ, and also too, I'm a founder of Amanda Brand as well. So,
Dope.
appreciate you for having me, my
For
brother.
sure, no, I appreciate you for making the time. This has kind of been in the works for I feel like a few months.
Yeah,
A few months, but we're here.
yeah, for
We
sure.
here. So Juneteenth, Amanda Brand. I feel like we were speaking a little bit off camera about this. How did I know? I think I would say Amanda Brand I heard about first because I think
Yeah.
it predated the construction of Juneteenth, like the event.
Yeah.
Do you feel that those two projects you're a part of, they embody who you are as a creator?
1,000%. Yeah, because like everything that I do is all about community and kind of connecting, where I'm from and how I grew up, which was pretty much centered around community and like, being together as a unit, when it comes to family, when it comes to friends, when it comes to all of that stuff. So, the way that Amanda started, of course, like that's named after my mother. So with that, I always wanted to start a brand because when it came to just fashion in general, it all started with her. You know what I mean? Like when I was a young one, just running around, don't care less, jelly stains all over your t-shirt. You know what I mean? But one thing that my mother used to always say is like, "Nah, what you doing?"
How,
Like,
how, how old were you when you first stopped? Well, when your mother stopped dressing you? Like,
stopped.
yeah.
I want to say maybe around like 7, 8.
Oh, okay.
And
So you,
that's when,
okay.
you know what I mean, throwback jerseys is in. We used to go to the stores. I used to pick up the little Rockaway, a little Sean John. You feel me? Got my little baggy fit, maybe some Mecca jeans
Mecca
with the
jeans.
Air Forces at the bottom.
See,
You feel me?
my first pair of Air Force slash Jordans was in college because my mom, she did a good job of making it seem like we didn't have money, but it was really me who didn't have money. So I
Yeah.
couldn't buy none of the Air Force ones. No, the first sneakers I ever wore to like it was like dress down day because I went to a
Yeah.
prep school. They were $6, and I thought that was calm,
Yeah.
Till I went to school the next day and they lit me up because
Oh,
instead
yeah.
of Reebok, it was Reba, REBA.
Oh, Reebok.
Yeah. So yeah,
Dang.
it wasn't,
Yeah.
fashion wasn't that wasn't something that was in my present at the time, but
Yeah.
God answers prayers,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we're here
no,
now.
listen, look at you now, brother.
You
You
know.
know what I mean? Listen, listen, don't get me fooled, bro. Like, you used to put everything on that way.
I'm telling you,
We used to put everything on that
it
way.
allowed me to, kind of dive in deeper because if not for those times, I wouldn't have an appreciation for the things we
Exactly.
can wear now.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, listen, I look at the fits that I used to wear back in the day. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what were we on?
Why did I think that was like reasonable to come out the
I
house
mean,
with?
honestly, back in the day, back in like '04, '03, those fits was fire.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. Like getting like the white tee down to your knees with the, you know what I mean, with the jabos and then maybe some Air Forces, a fitted that's 5 times bigger than your head. Like
It's
that was the style.
it's crazy how like when we look back at fits we used to wear, how like our eyes kind of adjust because it's like this looks insane, but if I let my memory go back to why I thought that was cool, it kind of makes sense now.
Yeah, because even if you were to take yourself at that point, if you 8, 9, 10 years old, and if you were to look at yourself right now, you probably looking at yourself like, yo, what kind of fit you got on right now? So
Exactly.
it's just like either way that you look at it, no matter what part of the lens, you're gonna still look at yourself being like, what you got on, like what you doing?
Fashion is
Yeah,
cyclical, just like history.
1,000%.
So being a part of a huge event like Juneteenth and your brand that tells the story of your mother, God rest her soul.
Appreciate that.
Has there ever been a time where you felt inept, like, but it originated from external sources, not something in you, but things around were telling you what you're doing isn't enough, who you are isn't enough for the mission and like the goal that you were embarking upon at the time?
Me personally, not like whenever I felt have that feeling, like it was just more so of just me. It's just kind of like coming from self. So whenever I felt inept, it's just more so like knowing that I could do better and I want to perform at a higher level. Like even starting off at Juneteenth and even starting off with my brand Amanda as well. It's just that, of course, when you start off anything, you're not an expert at it. So when Juneteenth came about, when 2020 happened, that was all just like a surprise for everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So when it comes to that, it was just like No one expected 5,000 people to show up.
Because I'm not gonna hold you. I remember I I was in grad school at the time. The world was seemingly ending,
Man.
and I'm like, I see this flyer for Juneteenth at Liberty State Park. At the time, I didn't know where that was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hold on,
Yeah, no, I felt like nobody knew what that was.
yeah, and then I'm like, hold on, they know the world is ending. They still gonna have this?
Yeah.
And then I look at my story, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to die, but I see them having a great time. I'm happy they enjoying themselves, but I'm gonna have to sit this one out. And then I see like, 1,000 people came. I'm like, wow, that's fire. At the time, I had no concept of what Juneteenth was because the date in growing up in school, that's not really widely taught information.
I didn't know anything about it until I became a grown up.
Same,
until
same.
I was really
a lot of
grown-ass
like
man.
I would say black historical happenings like Black Wall Street, Tulsa Massacre. A lot of the historical massacres that happened to like the black population in America, I was none the wiser until I did my research. So having the success of Juneteenth in 2020 and then 2021 and now to the point where you've had an event that had over 15,000, over 18,000 people, like just seeing success at that level, right? How would you define the word elite?
Elite?
Yes.
It's not. I don't think it's necessarily about the numbers. It's all about the execution, as far as like
Okay.
you executing at a certain level. So with us, it was just that like, yeah, you could look at 18,000 people, but were those 18,000 people satisfied? Were they happy about, the things that you were able to present? So with that, like, we're safe to say that a lot of the people that ever came to our event, majority of them were satisfied and were super happy about it. So for us, it's just like, that's how I measure any type of success. Because again, you can have 18,000 people and 95% of them are left dissatisfied and not happy with what you've done. So of course, it's like, is that elite? No, it's all about your performance and what you put out there. So I feel like it's a certain level that you really got to throw out there for you to really consider yourself elite.
Do you consider yourself elite in that space?
In that space? Not yet, because there's a lot of things I could still get better at, and so for me, like, and again, that's something that I'll say for myself because I'm always very honest and transparent with myself. Again, it doesn't matter about the numbers for me. It's all about like a certain level of execution. So I don't feel like I'm elite yet. It may look like that from the outside in, but that's not exactly what I wouldn't consider that elite just yet.
Climbing, like, trying to make each event and each drop in terms of the Manda brand better in any project you find yourself in, right? As you get more success, you kind of look at the field a little differently. You kind of understand what it takes to reach success in a different manner, right? So let's say for when you do reach that status, whatever those metrics look like in your head of being elite in your space, do you think that there are benefits to adopting an elitist mindset from the perspective of, I feel I've reached the level where I have very few peers and like those peers are the cream of the crop?
Yeah, it's a lot of benefits in that because what benefits, of course, like if you become an elite and you put yourself in certain rooms in certain areas, is that like with that you're able to use the benefits you receive from that to kind of give other people opportunities. So for me, that's my number one thing. It's just that like, of course I can get to a certain level and just whatever, but for me, I want to bring everyone else with me, and of course give out those opportunities out as much as possible. So for me, I think even if you were to adapt this type of mindset as far as like just elitism, right? It's just that once you become to like that certain level of success, everything else around you feel like it needs to be on that level as well. So when it comes to even your lifestyle, your eating habits, of course, again, giving greater and grander opportunities for your loved ones, is like those other things matter because again, it's bigger than you at that point. You can make it about yourself, but if you don't spread those blessings to other people, it's just like what's the point of even doing what you're doing?
What is the point?
Yeah.
And I think someone like yourself, who I think like one thing I've seen from the way you move, you're very big on community.
Yeah.
That's why like Juneteenth made sense, like you being one of the founders or the founder of like the movement, the project was just like, okay, this is someone I've seen around who's very, very invested in his local community and doesn't stay to the point where it's like, I can see beyond, but I know where I've come from.
Yeah.
So when you think about, we're talking about being elite and being, one of the leaders of a space when you reach that level, in terms of gatekeeping, because I think being elite and gatekeeping, I don't know if they can exist without the other.
Yeah.
Now, there has been a lot of talk, just like I feel like social media people talk about Fashion Week and those fashion events and how the quality of them has sort of changed because the the lack of gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
So for someone like you who's very big on the community, where do you stand on like the concept of gatekeeping? Do you feel that there's more pros and cons? Do you feel like gatekeeping is necessary, or how do you feel about
In
that?
my personal opinion, gatekeeping is very corny to me because
Okay.
again, it's just like, of course, right? If you're just inviting any and everybody to just whatever, of course, that's like, all right, bro, you're doing too much. But for me, the way I look at it is like, if I get invited into a room, I'm bringing all of my closest homies with me. That's just that.
So what do you say to the people who feel like the qualification of just knowing you is not enough to get them in that room?
For me, it's like my circle. I take my circle very seriously. So whoever I am, my homies are a reflection of me, and I'm a reflection of all of my homies that I have around me. So if I'm not good enough to be in the room, if I am good enough to be in the room, my homies are too. And if you feel like they're not, they can't be in that room, then I won't be in that room either. So for me, it's just like the things that I do is like I'm not doing it to be in a room full of strangers, no matter what how good you are, or how great you are, what you do. For me, I do it because of I want to be in the same room as all of my homies, and we all at elite level doing a lot of great things. So for me, it's just like if I step inside the room, all right, cool. I need a +2. Cool. And I'm bringing my homies with it. Because again, with me, it's like I can have this experience to myself and just hold on to it.
Yeah.
And then what? I can't necessarily bless the next person, but another like one of my friends or one of my homies could come with me and then get an eye-opening experience, and then like, oh snap, and then that could, move them to a different direction as far as like, okay, cool, now I need to step my game up, and it may motivate them to do certain things. And the shoe's been on the other foot plenty of times to where I've been +1s for a lot of people, and it was an eye-opening experience for me to make me go back to the drawing board and figure out like, okay, cool, like that motivated me. Now I need to, step my game up in certain areas. So again, like that's what it's all about for me, because again, like it takes a village to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To build a brand, to build anything, it takes a community, and being from Jersey, especially, is like it's a lot of that. You know what I mean? You see people from Jersey and creators from New Jersey step out in other spaces and they're doing their thing. But if you look around them, nobody else from Jersey with them. Like they don't really big up Jersey or anything like that. So that's why Juneteenth NJ is the thing. That's why I'm doing my brand. Everything is hidden in Jersey. So it's just like, and in like any move that I make sure that somebody from Jersey is with me so we can push. Because again, I kind of want to get to the point where it was in the '90s, where it's the Queen Latifahs, Naughty by Natures, and everybody like that, like Lords of the Underground, like are all pushing and making a scene and actually like making an impact together and repping Jersey while doing it at the same time.
Well, to get back to like the heyday of a Queen Latifah and Naughty by Nature, what do you think needs to change in the New Jersey creative landscape for that kind of place to be ushered in again?
For me, it's just more so just saying that like from back in the day, right? Like a lot of the times to where I watch documentaries about it, where a lot of them stepped in certain spaces, and of course, once they heard that you from Jersey, they kind of gave you like, they kind of dead eared you like, yeah, whatever. Mm-hmm. But once they performed, they did whatever they did, they left that impact, and it made sure that you knew exactly where they was from when they walked out of there, and having that Jersey pride. And again, like when it came to Queen La and the whole flavor unit, the whole Naughty by Nature, and everybody that kind of came up, Redman and everybody like that came up in the '90s. Again, everywhere they went, every single record that they heard, they always bigged up Jersey.
Yeah.
So again, never forgetting that, and a lot of the times to where, like, of course, I'm not going to try to pinpoint or pick on anybody individually, but a lot of the times, a lot of people come out of Jersey, never come back, never hear it on the record, never bigging it up. Because if I use Atlanta for the greatest example ever, because Atlanta has 95,000 different people that are on right now. Like from artists to DJs to comedians to actors to everything. And every single time you see one, you see a bunch of them.
Yeah, it don't matter what the industry is.
It don't matter. And I'm pretty sure, and again, I'm not in the backgrounds or anything like that for me to know, but I'm pretty sure that when it comes to them, is that once they get a play, they tap in their mans, but I'm bringing my mans with me. We walking in here, we doing X, Y, and Z. And that's exactly that's the reason why they on, and that's why they had that baton over the last 20 years of hip hop, and it looks like they're not even letting that joint go.
Even like some of the acts from Atlanta that I like. Like,
Yeah.
for example, Migos. If you look at their old videos, Lil Baby was in those.
Yeah.
You look at Lil Baby's older videos, Ryla Rodriguez was in those videos.
Exactly.
That's like a clear musical lineage of people who were on
Yeah.
more in a like a I would say veteran role now
Yeah.
versus people who are like hot and people coming.
Exactly.
Like 3 generations of music, because when one gets in, they kick down that door and tell everybody to come in.
Exactly. Even with the Dungeon family, like the Dungeon family tree is crazy. Starting off with obviously the Outkast and Goody Mob and everybody like that. Like Future was like a cousin or something like that of somebody's, and obviously that's a branch of full of artists that he put out.
Yeah.
And even with Young Thug, like he even like paid Little Baby
Yeah.
to get off the streets to start rapping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And even with that, with Gunna and all these other rappers, it's like literally like a domino effect. So where it's just like now Lil Baby, he has his own artist. And of course, when Lil Baby artist blows up, they can have their own artist. And again, it's just a trickle down effect. It's a domino that it could be endless if you just do it the right way.
So when you talk about your team and when you come in a room, they're qualified to come in the room because they're at the same level and kind of success you've had in their own respective rights.
Yeah.
Like they deserve to be in those rooms. Like to have that belief in your team and in yourself, and it kind of supports like your, I would say your character and the events you do being about community and being about team and being about Jersey. Do you think when you think about the art that you're a part of, do you think that exists without self-belief and self-pride?
You said, does it exist?
Yes, like in terms of believing in yourself and having pride in what you do. Because I think pride can easily roll into like a feeling of, like we've been talking about, elitism.
Man.
But do you think the things you're a part of can exist in your space for you without self-belief and or self-pride?
Nah, in my personal opinion. Because again, like when you are, I don't think anyone is elite or excellent at anything by accident. Like I don't think that Beyonce is Beyonce on accident. I don't think that Jay-Z, LeBron James, Serena Williams, all these other greats are just that on accident. They believed in themselves to get to that point. And I feel like for you to reach that level, like you got to really sit there one day before you become elite for you to be like, nah, I could be that. I can be elite. I could get to that level. So for me personally, like I don't think that you can be elite and not have that. Like have it. It has to be connected and it has to go hand in hand. So I don't think one exists without the other. So
Okay. Last question I have for you before you get out of here. If for the people who never have the pleasure of, having a more in-depth conversation with you and maybe just see you in passing, who would you want them to understand Zay is?
it's never about me. That's number one thing for me is it's never about me. I'm all about community. I'm all about helping out the next man, the next woman to get to the right places for me. Because again, like I am a type of person that like everybody can eat. I can eat and everyone can eat too. And the way that my brain always works is that, just like Thanksgiving, it's like if I bring something to the table and I can help somebody else either bring something to the table, or if everybody else brings something to the table, it's more for everybody to eat.
Yeah.
So I'm never selfish in that, right? So again, I'm just all about everybody else, including myself as well. But of course, I just always want to push the messages that you can eat and also you can eat with everybody else. And you can, do a lot of amazing things if you have that type of mindset. So again, bring all your food to the middle of the table. There's more food for everyone to eat. So we got to share knowledge, opportunity, everything. So
No, well said. I think it is important to understand the people we come with, our representation of ourselves, and that community is what helps us get to where we are. And without them, how can we exist in any space without our support system?
Exactly. And no one should ever have that mindset because, of course, like everybody on this planet knows something that you don't, like at least one thing, one little nugget that you can run into a stranger on the street that could tell you something that you have no idea about. So who am I to close the door on somebody or anything like that, or kind of blowing someone off just because I don't know who they are just yet. Yeah. But you know how many times I've been in rooms with people where I may have a genuine conversation with somebody and they're like, you know who that is? I'm like, no, who is that? Oh, he's da-da-da. I'm like, oh, wow, didn't even know. But I just show that respect to everybody from the CEO to the janitor and everyone in between. It's just showing that same love and respect to everybody because none of that shit matters. It's all about how you treat people, so That's the way I live and move. So
That's respect. Well, that's well said. Well, I don't have anything else for you, so definitely appreciate you coming through.
yeah.
Zay from Amanda Brand, part of Juneteenth movement. Thank you for coming out. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people?
Nothing else, man, for sure. Just, bigger and better Juneteenth for next year, for sure. A lot of amazing things from Amanda coming up soon. Super excited to announce, so appreciate you for having me, my brother.
So where can they follow your projects and what you got going on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Amanda is Amanda Brand Official on Instagram, and of course, Juneteenth is Juneteenth NJ, and my personal is A Black No Food.
Tough. That's it, people. That's a wrap.
I
See you
appreciate
in the next
y'all.
one. Peace.
Thank you.